All right, welcome back to the show. I'm so thrilled to be here with you today, even though it's so cold here in New Zealand. Winter is definitely here. I want to share with you today some really actionable steps that you can take for your soul lead business around your brand frequency. I want to introduce you to this because I believe it's something that nobody is really talking about. You know, within the branding scope of things, we talk about brand identity, personality, giving these kind of human traits to our brand to make it relatable, so it's personable, all the things. But have we ever stopped to actually think about the frequency that our brand emits? Because your brand, when you are a soul lead business owner, when you have a mission to bring to the world, it's not actually just a brand, is it? It's part of your soul's creative essence. It has its own energy, it has its own beingness, your brand, and the frequency of it, the offerings that you are bringing out into the world, your body of work. And so today, I want to take you through a process where you can really identify the frequency, the energetic undertone of your brand, so that you can lean into that, so that you can amplify that, so that you can use that frequency, the language of that frequency, as a lens through which to express your brand in different ways, visually, through your tone and your voice, all the ways. So, brand frequency, what actually is it? As I just mentioned, it is the energetic undertone of your brand's energy. It is the unseen and felt essence of your brand. It is what resonates with your ideal dream soul contracted clients in an subtle way. Your brand frequency is not yelling. Your brand frequency is quietly captivating. And the reason why it's important to know what our brand frequency is so that we can truly express the fullness of it. When we know what kind of energy and what kind of undertone of frequency is being transmitted through our brand, we can amplify that. People can resonate with that. They can feel that. It's a really important part of branding, which in soul-led business is what I do. It's the area that I have been pulled into. I won't go into my story about how I started branding, but it really was a soul-led choice. It was something that I just followed because it felt good. It was lighting me up, and I just learned the craft myself. But I came from a space where I was not traditionally schooled in design and graphic design, and that has positioned me perfectly to actually see design, branding in particular, from a whole different lens. I don't have this traditional kind of structure to branding that I view from or through. I very much view it through the lens of, this is your soul's essence, this is your soul's creation. And so it is not just a brand, it is its own entity. So let's get into it. Okay. I'm going to give you this little exercise that you can journal out and really start to pinpoint the frequency that your brand is emitting. So I want you to imagine your brand as a woman, and you're in perhaps a gathering, a party, whatever. She walks into the room, your brand. What is it that you immediately notice about her before she even says a word? You might want to pause this and write it down, or I'll put some prompts below as well that you can follow along after this. So what is it that you sense from her before she even says a word? That is a really key insight into the frequency that your brand emits and the frequency that your body of work holds. Okay, that's the first place. Then we can get into a little bit more of the identity, I suppose, the personalization of this woman who is your brand. So how does she dress? So what is she wearing aesthetically? And how does she express herself? So how does she communicate? How does she interact with other people in the room? And this could just be you simply observing in your mind. This is all creative visualization, observing your brand, interacting with others. Okay, so how does she dress? And how does she speak? Like, what is her communication style? How does she engage with others? And the final piece of this, which for me, I find this is the most significant question to ask. How does she make you feel when you are around her? So we're imagining your brand as a woman in a gathering, in a party, in a woman's circle, whatever. How does she make you feel when you are around her? I did this with Sacred May Studio, my design studio, and it's actually really fascinating to speak about and view your brand essence from this lens. It truly does give you an insight into what people feel as they step into your work. And therefore, when you know that, you have clarity in that, you can share that a lot more intentionally. People can actually get it at a much deeper level, like the resonance, the magnetism in your brand can increase, amplify from that space. So the final piece of this puzzle is that once you've written out everything, so you've taken these 4 questions, I believe they are. What do you immediately notice about her when she walks into the room? How does she dress? Like, what is her style? And how does she express herself? What is her communication style? How does she interact with people? And then finally, how does she make you feel when you are around her? Write all this out and just imagine that you're speaking about an actual person. Write it all down, put lots of detail in, and then we're going to go through that information that you've just recorded, and we're going to pull out some signature states of being. This is the frequency lens that we're going to then view your brand through. This is your brand frequency. Pull out some states of being. So perhaps it could be that you view her as a woman who is confident. She just has this inner kind of quiet confidence in herself. And so that is a state of being confident. And that's a lens that you can then view your work through, that you can create your content through that confidence kind of lens. This is the brand frequency. I want to share with you, once you've got those lenses or that brand frequency mapped out, maybe it's about 3 or 4 keywords, you can then use that in everything that you are creating, every piece of content you're putting out into the world, even aesthetically, what you are creating in terms of your brand. I want to share with you my example of this. So I did this with Sacred May Studio, like I shared with you, and this is what I came up with. So what do you immediately notice about her before she even says a word? She stands tall and confident. Her body is open. Her head is up. Her shoulders are back. She has an elevated style, and she looks comfortable and confident in her own skin. Like there's an inner knowingness that she holds when she walks into the room. You know, she's not kind of bending herself to match the frequency of the room. She's holding her frequency standard as she moves through the space, and therefore others are kind of attuning to that energy. So this is for my brand Sacred May Studio. How does she dress? So this is how I visualize her. I see her as a chic Parisian woman. Loose fitting but beautifully tailored, elevated style. So she's effortlessly chic. There is this sense of she has this impeccable taste. She knows what looks good, and she can just put things together so seamlessly. And perhaps that's come from having a level of restraint within her style. So maybe, she doesn't have a huge wardrobe, but she has very high-end selected pieces that she knows fit her body well, that suit her personal style, but also her daily rhythms and the way she lives her life, so that she can be confident and comfortable in her own skin. How does she speak? So the communication style is a really important one to flesh out in terms of your brand, because this is how you express your brand often, through your content that you're sharing. So for Sacred May Studio, she's warm and engaging, but she is direct. Like, there is a precision that she speaks. She doesn't just talk for the sake of talking. She listens really intently, and she says what she believes is worth saying. Which I found so interesting. I mean, none of this was really front of my mind before I did this exercise. But now that it's here, I'm like, okay, I can take parts of this and I can implement them into my content. I can create content that is precise, that is intentional, that is not waffly at all, but actually gets to the point and truly delivers something that is of value. And then finally, how does she make you feel when you're around her? And like I said, this is kind of like a really juicy state of being, frequency question to ask. So for my brand, Sacred May Studio, when you're around her, you begin to articulate with more precision. So because she is so intentional with the words that she speaks, when you're around her, you start to kind of take on some of those characteristics too. It's like she pulls you into her orbit, and you start to become more intentional with the way that you speak. There's a precision there. You start to feel more elevated in yourself, more empowered, because you're kind of seeing this woman, and you see aspects of that reflected in yourself, that mirror effect, and you feel that, and you start to step into that a little bit more. And this one here, it's as if she sees and speaks to the most empowered version of you. This is how my brand expresses itself. This is how people feel when they come into that space. It's like the content that I'm creating is there to mirror the highest possible expression of your soul brand. And what's really beautiful is that we can lean into this when we become aware of our brand's frequency, something that people don't really talk about in the branding space. But that's why I'm here. And so there were 4 different frequency words that now have become the signature frequency lens that I create through, that I speak through when I'm working in Sacred May Studio. So elevated was one, empowered, confident, and precise. So all of these different states of being, a state of being that is one of precision, that is one of confidence, one of empowerment, a state of being which is one of elevation. And now I can use all of that with my creative direction, my visual aesthetic, with my voice and my tone within my brand. So let me know how this lands for you, because I really see myself bringing more of these branding style videos and audios to you in order for you to really express the fullness of your mission, because we're all one here. We've all got the same mission underneath, really, which is to be the light, to share the light and express the light. And so if I can support you to get your business out into the world in a grander way, then I've done my job. I'm living my mission as I do that. So let me know how this lands. I'd love to hear from you. And here's to more brand frequency, more brand messaging that perhaps is a little bit different to the traditional mainstream way. But that's because you don't have a traditional mainstream business. You have a soul-led business. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.